The political and security atmosphere in Nigeria has taken a completely unexpected and dramatic turn this year, as one of the most controversial Islamic clerics in the northern region, Sheikh Ahmad Gumi, has openly declared his readiness to support the release and amnesty of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu. This shocking development has completely dominated national discussions, leaving many Nigerians absolutely speechless. To fully understand the magnitude of this unexpected alliance, we have to look back at the monumental events that closed out the previous year and set the stage for this massive controversy. On the 20th of November 2025, the nation watched as a 10-year complex legal battle reached its ultimate climax. A federal high court sitting in Abuja officially convicted Nnamdi Kanu on 7 charges bordering on terrorism and treasonable felony, ultimately handing the IPOB leader a devastating life imprisonment sentence. Following this landmark judgment, the authorities swiftly moved him to the Sokoto Correctional Center, far away from his massive support base in the southeast. The road to this conviction was incredibly dramatic. Throughout the highly publicized trial, the prosecution brought forward several key witnesses who gave powerful evidence backed by heavy documentary proof. While some die-hard supporters claimed the trial was unfair, legal experts pointed out that Kanu actually had the opportunity to dismantle the government's case. The tension across the country was incredibly thick, and just when everyone thought the situation could not get any more complicated or divisive, Sheikh Gumi stepped directly into the intense spotlight with a massive proposition that absolutely nobody saw coming. Known primarily for his highly controversial and deeply debated efforts to negotiate with armed bandits across the dense, dangerous forests of northern Nigeria, Sheikh Gumi made an appearance on national television that instantly went viral across all major social media platforms. During this intense and highly watched interview, the outspoken cleric dropped a massive bombshell by stating that he would personally step forward and heavily champion a presidential pardon for Nnamdi Kanu. However, this massive offer of support came with a very specific and incredibly difficult condition attached to it. Gumi categorically stated that the IPOB leader must first show absolute, genuine remorse for his past actions and the highly inflammatory public broadcasts that allegedly incited extreme violence against Nigerian soldiers and innocent civilians. According to the Sheikh, if Kanu can somehow swallow his immense pride, officially apologize to the entire nation, and publicly call for absolute peace directly from his maximum security prison cell in Sokoto, then he, a highly prominent northern Islamic leader, will be at the very forefront fighting aggressively for his total freedom. To forcefully back up his incredibly bold stance and convince his numerous critics, Gumi dug deep into Nigeria's incredibly rich and complex political history to quickly remind the public that granting complete amnesty to major secessionist figures is definitely not a new or foreign concept in the country. He heavily referenced the highly sensitive aftermath of the brutal Nigerian civil war, smartly pointing out that former President Shehu Shagari, a highly respected man from his own northern region, graciously granted a full unconditional state pardon to the late rebel warlord Chukwuemeka Odumengu Ojukwu. Gumi did not just stop at the Civil War era. He also powerfully reminded the nation of how the late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua successfully ended the crippling, highly destructive violence in the oil-rich Niger Delta region by offering a massive, comprehensive amnesty program to heavily armed militants. These were militants who had also committed extreme acts officially classified as terrorism and economic sabotage against the Nigerian state. The core foundation of Sheikh Gumi's highly controversial argument heavily relies on his long-standing, unwavering belief that the Nigerian government is making a massive, catastrophic mistake by depending entirely on kinetic military force to solve deeply rooted socio-political and regional crises. He passionately and consistently argues that the Nigerian army, just like any other standard conventional military force in the entire world, is simply not properly designed, trained, or equipped to permanently win a dirty, drawn-out guerrilla war against deeply entrenched, highly motivated non-state actors. To aggressively drive his major point home to the viewers and the government, he pointed directly to the absolute humiliating failure of the incredibly powerful United States military machine to maintain absolute control in Afghanistan after 2 full decades of intense multi-billion-dollar fighting. He also highlighted the ongoing, deeply complex struggles of the highly advanced Israeli military in their own difficult regional conflicts. Gumi firmly believes that whether the federal government is dealing with ruthless, heavily armed bandits terrorizing the northwest, deeply radicalized Boko Haram insurgents blowing up facilities in the northeast, or highly passionate IPOB agitators demanding a completely separate nation in the southeast, the ultimate lasting solution will always have to eventually come down to open dialogue, honest negotiation, and a genuine willingness to properly address the underlying historical grievances of the people. As this completely fascinating and highly volatile political drama continues to unfold before our very eyes, if you are truly enjoying this massive deep dive into the complex realities of Nigerian politics and you absolutely want to stay constantly updated on the biggest, most important stories shaping the future of our great nation, please take a very quick moment right now to like this video and aggressively hit that subscribe button. By subscribing to the channel and turning on your notification bell, you completely ensure that you will never ever miss out on any of our deeply researched, purely factual, and highly engaging news breakdowns. Your massive continuous support allows us to keep digging deep and bringing you the absolute truth without any filter, fear, or political bias whatsoever. Now, returning straight to the intense, highly explosive fallout of Sheikh Gumi's deeply controversial national declaration, the absolute pushback from the federal government and the top brass of the Nigerian military has been nothing short of completely explosive and highly intimidating. The military establishment, completely and utterly fed up with the continuous annoying calls to pamper and negotiate with individuals they officially view as highly dangerous, irredeemable enemies of the state, used their highly anticipated 2026 New Year broadcast to officially and aggressively read the Riot Act to the entire nation. In a highly stern, deeply uncompromising, and heavily broadcasted national address, top military spokespersons sent a very clear, direct, and completely undeniable warning to all active terrorists, rural bandits, IPOB operatives, and specifically to prominent individuals like Sheikh Gumi, who consistently and loudly advocate for soft, comfortable landings for highly dangerous criminals. The military made it absolutely and entirely clear to the listening public that the old era of treating violent, heavily armed non-state actors with soft kid gloves is completely and permanently over. They heavily emphasized that any rogue group or radical individual that foolishly decides to take up illegal arms against the sovereign democratic state of Nigeria will absolutely be met with the full, devastating, and completely crushing force of the combined armed forces. This highly aggressive, no-nonsense stance by the military establishment clearly indicates that the current federal administration, under the direct leadership of President Bola Tinubu, is definitely not entirely sold on Gumi's highly romanticized, peaceful idea of granting massive blanket amnesties and sharing peaceful handshakes with officially convicted, highly dangerous terrorists. The entire world, along with millions of highly anxious Nigerians, both safely at home and far away in the massive diaspora, is watching the unfolding events incredibly closely, with absolute bated breath, waiting desperately to see exactly who will be brave enough or foolish enough to make the final, completely decisive political move that will forever alter the entire destiny of the nation.